Invite viewers to post their location and local time. Then imagine yourself in Ryan's shoes, coffee in hand on a sunny porch, thinking this was the dream move. A two-story colonial with wraparound porch forest edging the backyard, and the kind of silence you pay extra for in the city. He and his wife had worked for years to get here, and his daughter believed the fireflies in the garden were tiny fairies sent to bless the place. For 3 weeks, life really was bliss bird song in the mornings, grilled dinners under the stars at night. Then came Karen. Karen wore her smile like a badge of authority, crisp blazer binder tucked tight, her designer-vested dog trotting by her side. She chirped out a welcome to Willow Springs and shoved a thick HOA folder at Ryan. He politely explained his property wasn't even inside their lines, deed clear as daylight, but her smile tightened a millimeter. He tossed the binder into the pantry next to unused paint cans, unaware it was the start of a siege. Historians still argue whether empires fall because of greed or arrogance. Here he was about to watch one woman combine both. It began in the garage. Empty Gatorade bottles appeared in energy bar wrapper. He never bought muddy footprints at the side gate. Motion sensors disabled. Then doorbell footage revealed a young man in his 20s military backpack, sipping Ryan's soda like it was his birthright. Karen's phone call followed. That was her son, Tommy, fresh out of service, adjusting, and apparently adjusting meant claiming Ryan's house as his new quarters. She explained as if swapping casserole recipes that unassigned properties could be redistributed by the HOA. He hung up, stunned. Who tries to annex a house like it's a lost province? Karen didn't stop. Recycling bins were dragged around, trash swapped, and soon a manila envelope arrived with official-looking HOA letterhead declaring his property under review. The absurdity of it made Ryan double-check his deed, highlight boundary lines, and stash copies in glove box, kitchen, and even behind cereal boxes, paranoid maybe. But when someone tries to erase your home, paranoia becomes self-defense. The true escalation hit when police cruisers pulled up officers asking for proof of ownership like Ryan was a squatter in his own living room. The older cop nodded at the deed and grunted approval. The younger, sunglasses gleaming, insisted the transfer might not have cleared. Ryan's jaw tightened. As he handed back the yellow slip of nonsense paperwork, he noticed Karen across her lawn, white tracksuit arms folded, the quiet menace of someone who believed she was already winning. By now, Ryan's weekends no longer meant barbecues. They meant cameras installed over fences, porches, gates, turning his home into a suburban fortress. And still the harassment grew. Spray-painted trash cans, property under HOA review signs by his driveway. Even an emergency HOA meeting where neighbors whispered that Karen called his house a community reclamation. Somewhere between the soda-swilling trespasser and the cops citing fantasy bylaws, Ryan realized this wasn't a quirky neighborhood spat. It was a campaign, and his dream house had just become ground zero. Ryan doesn't have to wait long for the storm to crack wide open. A Thursday morning brings 2 officers and a man in a navy blazer stitched with a Willow Springs HOA patch. Clipboard in hand, he talks about a peaceful transition, like Ryan's house is a Cold War buffer zone. Ryan stands his ground, thrusting his deed into the older officer's hands, while the clipboard warrior catalogs his porch furniture like it's evidence for a yard sale. They leave with a taped notice occupancy under investigation that Ryan rips down before his daughter can read it. That night, floodlights blaze over his backyard when Tommy arrives with hooded friends, 2 SUVs idling where no road should be. The men circle toolbox, glinting their casual swagger, broadcasting that they think the property is already theirs. Ryan steps out, voice steady, and the threat of cameras, plus his wife's perfectly timed lights, send them scrambling back into the dark. The dispatcher promises a unit will stop by, but of course no one comes. Quirky Tidbit, the raccoon that trips his sensors later that night, nearly gets labeled suspect number 4. He laughs, but it's thin. Historians still argue whether paranoia protects you or eats you alive. Ryan leans toward the first. Enter Alex, Former federal agent still dressed like he's undercover at a car dealership, mirrored sunglasses binder under his arm. He reviews the footage, confirms the SUVs were a probing run, and sets up encrypted storage, multiple backups, and a legal playbook thick enough to choke a printer. Ryan feels the ground shift. This isn't just survival, now it's counterattack. Together, they document every trespass, draft letters to county and sheriff, and start weaving the story into a net strong enough to catch Karen. To gather allies, Ryan throws what looks like a casual barbecue, but is in fact a reconnaissance mission with burgers. Neighbors wander in, some hungry, some curious. Janine, the sharp-eyed woman from 2 houses over, whispers that Karen pulled similar stunts before convincing people to leave under false claims of delinquent dues. By the time the grill cools, Ryan has 15 signatures on a support petition. Alex grins, community evidence, the power of potato salad mixed with legal strategy. Then the bombshell Laura, the HOA treasurer, sneaks over with a USB drive. Her nerves are raw, eyes darting, but her conscience heavier. The stick holds everything: emails, minutes, Karen's orders, even plans to stage neglect with broken lawn chairs. Most damning are exchanges where Karen thanks 2 officers for ongoing support and promises compensation post-transition. Bribes in black and white. Alex barely says a word, just forwards the files to the DA. Days blur into nights of logging, patrol cars cruising with headlights off, zip-tied cameras pointed at their windows, more envelopes declaring housing stability initiatives, as if patriotism could mask theft. Ryan feels hollow some nights, laughing at his wife's jokes, while his eyes never leave the phone, alerting him to motion at the gate. But behind the exhaustion, momentum is building. Evidence stacks, neighbors lean his way, and Alex keeps pushing, turning Karen's empire of intimidation into a trail of receipts leading straight to court. When the lawsuit finally lands, it doesn't slip quietly, it detonates. 48 pages naming Karen, Tommy, the HOA board, and even the 2 bribed officers. A clerk mutters, "It'll make headlines," and within days the story bounces across blogs and watchdog forums, then leaps onto local news. A segment shows Tommy skulking in Ryan's yard, and suddenly the county knows Willow Springs' queen bee has been playing empire builder with other people's homes. Ryan does an interview on his porch, calm but firm, and the narrative flips. No longer the outsider under investigation, he's the homeowner defending his family from fraud. The ripple spreads fast. The sheriff's department benches both implicated officers while a petition circulates for Karen's removal. Neighbors who once peeked from behind curtains now wave openly. It isn't a revolution, but it feels close. People realize the HOA they paid dues to was less a community steward and more a personal fiefdom. A county probe confirms what Ryan already knew: his property was never in any transitional zone, not even by accident. That fiction collapses, and so does Karen's confidence. Historians still argue whether tyrants fall from external pressure or internal betrayal. Here it's both. Court day arrives like a festival. The room overflows with reporters, residents, and protest t-shirts, even one man in back with a lawn chair and popcorn who refuses to leave. Karen enters, late sunglasses, oversized attorney's grim. Alex presents binders of evidence, then rolls video. Tommy drinking soda in the garage. Karen slipping envelopes to cops' midnight drive-bys. The judge watches, silent, brow furrowing. Testimonies follow Laura, the treasurer exposing emails, Janine confirming harassment patterns, neighbors recounting whispers that Ryan's family wouldn't last the spring. The courtroom becomes a theater where Karen's empire collapses under its own absurdity. The ruling slams down like thunder. HOA guilty of harassment and conspiracy. Karen personally liable, ordered to pay nearly $2 million in damages, stripped of her post, and remanded into custody on charges of fraud, bribery, and surveillance. She's cuffed right there at the table, disbelief painted across her face as if reality finally stopped bending to her will. Applause breaks out. The judge gives up trying to silence it, and Ryan doesn't need to gloat. The sight says it all. Afterward, Fernwood Drive feels lighter. Karen's house goes dark, a for sale sign crooked in the lawn. Tommy vanishes. Oversight trustees dismantle Karen's absurd bylaws about shrub heights and visually harmonious furniture. Ryan and his wife build a gazebo with part of the settlement neighbors helping raise beams while kids chase each other through the yard. Notes of thanks trickle in, one simply reading, "I thought I was crazy until you proved I wasn't." Another, "We never knew your name. Now we won't forget it." And slowly nights soften. Ryan still checks cameras, but laughter returns. His daughter names the garden Victory Row, planting tomatoes and rosemary as if each sprout is another brick in their regained peace. His blog, Defend Your Home. USA grows into a hub for others facing HOA nightmares, proving that one stubborn family can spark thousands. Yet the moment that sticks isn't the ruling, the payout, or the headlines. It's a quiet Thursday dusk, fireflies rising, his wife leaning on his shoulder, both of them laughing softly for no reason at all. For the first time since moving in, the house feels wholly theirs. No binders, no notices, just home. Now the story breathes slower, like the Carolina air after summer storms. The porch light glows softly, the neighborhood no longer watching through blinds, but sharing waves across driveways. Ryan lingers on the gazebo steps, feeling night settle around him with a calm that no camera alert can break. The lawns smell faintly of cut grass. Children's laughter drifts like echoes, and even the cicadas seem to hum lower as though they too understand the war is past. He thinks of all the paperwork stacked in Alex's binders, the flash drives tucked safely away, the hours of vigilance that blurred into paranoia. Yet what rises now isn't tension but gratitude, the strange relief of knowing you stood when someone demanded you kneel. The garden beds along Victory Row sway gently in the breeze, tomatoes ripening in clusters, rosemary catching the dusk light. His daughter sleeps inside his wife, curls up with a book, and Ryan finally leans back, letting stillness soak in. It's the kind of stillness you don't notice until it's gone and then returned, fragile at first, then strong. He exhales long and steady, as if breathing out the last shadows Karen ever cast across his threshold. The stars climb higher, dogs bark and fall silent, and the night becomes simply what it should be, ordinary, safe his. And in that ordinary, Ryan finds peace.